What's going on, fellas? I've got here a 2003 Toyota RAV4, and I'm using this car to point out to you the location of the fuses for your blower motor, as well as the location of the blower motor relay. And I'm going to give you some troubleshooting steps for when air's not coming out on the RAV4. So to begin, we're going to look at a fuse behind this cover here. We just open it and pull it right out. Now what we're looking at for in here is a 10 amp fuse located in this position. So this is going to be called the gauge fuse. And this fuse is very important because power from this fuse is necessary for the blower motor relay to engage. And I've pulled it out so you can see what a good fuse looks like. Now I'll reinstall it, and we're going to move under the hood. This is where we're going to find the blower motor relay, as well as the main fuse for that blower motor. So it's going to be behind this cover, which we remove by squeezing these two tabs here, lifting up, and there's a final tab right there to contend with. Now the blower motor relay is this relay right here, and the fuse for the blower motor is what's called a J-case fuse, and it's this one right here. Now with these fuses, you can look down through the top of them and see if they're blown or not. If you need to remove your blower motor fuse, you just wiggle it side to side while you pull straight up. And it's not uncommon for the plastic top piece to break off when you're removing it. Not a big deal. Now, as far as the blower motor relay goes, it's supposed to turn on whenever you have the blower motor at any speed other than 0. And my favorite way to troubleshoot this is I'll tap on that relay. Sometimes relays get stuck, and by tapping the relay or even wiggling the relay, you can get it to start working again. Now, there are no other relays we can swap that with, but we can remove it, and if we connect these two pins together, if we connect those two pins, that will send power directly to the blower motor. So that's a good way to bypass the relay if you suspect that it's bad. Now, sending power to the blower motor is not sufficient for the blower motor to turn on. It still has to receive a ground signal. And that ground signal comes from the blower motor resistor working with our blower motor speed switch here. So let's do some more troubleshooting. I'm going to show you where you can find the blower motor. It's going to be right down here. And much like the relay, a great way to troubleshoot this is to have the blower motor turned on and just come in here and start tapping on it. Sometimes a bad connection can form in here, and by tapping on the bottom of the blower motor, it can start working again. We can also wiggle this connector around. Sometimes the pins on the connector can get corroded or burnt. And if you wiggle this connector and the blower motor kicks on, then that may tell you that you should disconnect the connector and inspect it for signs of corrosion. So these pins look relatively okay, but they're definitely something to inspect. We've got two wires here. The black wire carries power from that blower motor relay. The ground, which is how the speed is controlled, comes in on the black white wire, which ultimately comes off of the blower motor resistor. So if you're getting power to the blower motor but no ground, you may want to check that resistor. If you're getting a ground but no power, you'll want to check the fuses and relays I showed you earlier. And if you're getting both a power and a ground here, but the blower motor is not coming on, it's very likely that the blower motor itself is not working. And it's pretty simple to replace. It's held on with just 3 of these 8mm screws. So really couldn't be simpler. So yeah, I hope this information was helpful for you, or was at the least a good starting point in troubleshooting the blower motor on your RAV4. If you have any questions, I'd like to hear them down below. Also, please chime in if you have any advice, and thanks for watching.